All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Sun Crypto. It is January 8th, 2024, just about like a 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In today's content, we'll discuss about BTC on a macro basis. We'll take a look at BTC, in terms of like a quarterly all the way down to the 3D time frame, and what type of price action, volatility, price level resistances, supports, and all that good stuff. What type of moves we could be expecting going into the second half of 2024, as we've been expecting over the last few weeks. We said it clearly, market will not move in a straight line. We will get some correction with alt, and at the same time we will get some corrections with BTC. However, those correction won't be probably right some reversal, macro reversal trend. It could just be some short to medium term reversal to retest some supports. We'll discuss all of that on a macro all the way down to the low degree and all that good stuff basically. Okay, so on a macro basis, right, BTC is still looking good. On a quarterly basis, it is still looking good. Monthly, weekly, 3D was a little bit shaky. On a 2D basis, we'll take a look at all of that good stuff. All right, so let me make sure the sound is good before I go ahead and dive into the analysis and all that good stuff, right? So we got a Crypto P in the house. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We got Jude in the house. Quite cook. Happy New Year. Happy New Year once again to all of you too, right? So Quite cook, cooking some BTC and dumping all the altcoins down the drain. We got Mr. Shu in the house. California Rod in the house. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And hash rate 84, actually 87 down to 84 in the house. Thanks a lot for watching. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive into the analysis, right? We're going to start off with the quarterly time frame. By the way, I got 50%, down to a 30% up to 50% discount for the premium group. So if you want to join the premium group, make sure to join the Discord public group, link in the description, and from that point you can basically try to get access to the premium group for the Sun Crypto premium group and all that good stuff. All right. So now, when we take a look at the quarterly time frame, I'm just going to review, right? If you're not familiar with the quarterly analysis, we've been discussing the quarterly analysis since like 2021, right? So we've been spot on the quarterly basis, right? On the the shorter term time frame, here and that, right? Price action is pretty volatile, and you have to be very patient, especially with alt. Okay, you have to be very patient when the BTC dominance is strong, because not every alt will be outperforming BTC, and at the same time, not every alt will be outperformed by BTC. So you just have to be patient with alt, right? However, on the macro basis, we've been pretty spot on when we take a look at these directional trends. And these trends, just to be clear, they tend to take, like, let's say at least 3 months to 6 months, right, at least, to get a clear reversal and all that good stuff, right? So when you take a look at the quarterly basis, right, as we said in 2023, right, the first quarter of 2023, when we got the 72% breakout, right, from like a 16K up to basically, let's say 28K, we discussed like this type of a breakout from the bottom. Okay, they tend to signal what? A macro reversal. However, most bears been in denial, and they've been saying like, hey, we're going to be dropping down to like a 5K, 10K, 3K, and all that good stuff, right? But what I've been saying was like, once we regain control on a quarterly basis, right? Once we regain control of the quarterly 21 and maintain a solid ground above it, even if it retested it, right, it would be a nice support before the next breakout to the upside. And as you can see, in 2023, we got a big breakout in Q1, spent like 6 months above the quarterly 21 EMA. How long did we spend, right? Did we spend below the quarterly 21 EMA? 6 months. Q3 and Q4 of 2022, we spent it what? We spent all that time below the quarterly 21 EMA. You take a look at it right here, Q2 and Q3 2023, we spent all that time above the quarterly 21 EMA, and at the same time, we will take a look at it on a monthly basis. We were consolidating around the quarterly 21 EMA, right? If you've been following us long enough, you know how important is the monthly 21 EMA also. Okay, that's what I just meant to say. Okay, so now you take a look at it. We got a big breakout, and most bears, as I said, are still looking for low prices, while bulls are maintaining a solid higher lows, okay, on the quarterly, monthly, weekly, and all that good stuff, right? You take a look at the last quarter of 2021 right here, the big breakout we had, right? Remember what I said? Actually, the first quarter of 2021. Remember what I said back then? I was saying clearly it could take like a 3 to 4 quarters before we break out below, right, the quarterly open, the 2021 open, basically the yearly open right here. And exactly that's what happened. It took like 5 quarters before we took out the 30K area. The same thing could apply right here. It could take a very long time before bears could even retest, okay, anywhere below the quarterly 21 EMA. That's why I'm remaining bullish on BTC for the next, let's say, let's say 15 to a 17 month, 18 month, okay, give or take, right? Basically till mid 2025, or even late 2025, depending on how high we will go and all that good stuff. Okay, another example is like if you take a look at the quarterly breakout back in 2017. Most of you guys remember back in 2017, October, November, December, BTC broke out from like a 4K all the way up to 20K. How long did it take to regain control of the quarterly open right here? It took 4 quarters before we retested the quarterly 21. You take a look at the breakout we had right here in 2019, Q2 2019. It took 9 months before we were able to basically retest the quarterly breakout. Okay, that's nothing to do, right, with Elliott wave. It is just the quarterly structure, open and close. So it is very important to understand, like, hey, if you sit right here and waiting for BTC to retest like 5K, 10K, whatever, right? You're gonna wait forever. Okay, not financial advice, but based on the market structure, it is very, very unlikely, right? It is very, very unlikely for BTC to retest like 10K and lower. Okay, so that shouldn't even be a topic to talk about, but I just have to clear it out of the way, right, for Leroy and all that good stuff. Okay, so to the upside, right, as we discussed, to the upside, if you've been following our quarterly analysis, what we said, right, was like our 45K area up to 46.5, right, going to be a massive resistance, right? That's where we got our we started our capitulation. If you guys remember, guys, we were clearly bearish, okay, in Q2 2022. Okay, we said we're going to be dumping potentially all the way down to down to the quarterly 21 EMA, 21K plus minus 10%. Okay, basically 21K down to 19, 21K down to a 21K down to a 19K plus minus 10%, right? That's exactly what we had right here, right? We dropped more than 10% below the quarterly 21 EMA, which was a better opportunity also basically to be accumulating for the long term. And I was saying it clearly in 2022. Buy between 19 to 16K. Don't worry about like 15, 14, 10 and all that good stuff, because the probability based on the BTC history, the probability of dropping 50% below the quarterly 21 is very low. The quarterly 21 back then was around like 21K. And most people were expecting BTC to drop 50% below its quarterly 21 EMA. Okay? And that didn't happen. Okay? So you take a look at right here. Now we're back to the resistance point. Very important. Are we going to be able to break it? I think bulls will be breaking. Eventually, will break out above the 45.5, 46, 46.5 area. We actually just retested 47, but we need a monthly close above 45.5, 46.5 area. Okay, in order to get a better chance of continuing the Q1 breakout. Remember, Q1 doesn't have to break out. We just don't want to basically close, let's say, retest anywhere around like, let's say, even 30K, okay? Even if we retest 30K, we just don't want to close around 30K because it could basically give us a longer sideways correction. If for whatever reason, whether the ETF is approved, delay, or rejected, right? It doesn't matter. BTC just has to avoid closing anywhere around 30K, especially below 32K, right? But any close on the quarterly basis above 45.5, that's going to be a massive sign of bullishness. Whether you want to, look at it and, ignore it or not, it is going to be there. No one will be able to say, hey, this is bearish if we close above 45.5 before Q2. You see what I'm saying? So hopefully it is clear and clean, right? And you're ready to go for the for the next bull market stage and all that good stuff. Okay, so now we're done with a quarterly basis. Let's take a look at the monthly time frame, right? So when we take a look at the monthly basis, as we've been saying over the last few months, years, and all that good stuff, the monthly 21 EMA is going to be a very important key level to pay attention to in a bull market, especially the early stage of the bull market. Now we could say like, hey, we're on the second stage of the bull market. Why the second stage of the bull market? Because remember, we discussed about BTC in terms of Elliott wave. What we said once we finish off our wave 2, the likelihood, right, of market trending higher going to be extremely high. And we finish off our wave 2, right? I would say with 85 to 95% probability. This is wave 2. And now we're looking for the wave 3. Okay, wave 3 could be, above all-time high and all that good stuff. Okay, depending on the volatility, right? Because I don't want to be expecting 1.618 extension too soon, especially when we talk about like the monthly time frame and quarterly time frame, right? But on a monthly basis, it is looking super good, right? Consolidated just like the quarterly around this area, 6 months around the monthly 21 EMA, and basically just broke out and hit the resistance in terms of price, right? Somewhere around like a 47.3, right? And that's exactly where we just hit today as of January 8th, 2024. Okay, so what we want to see is like, we want to see a solid bullishness on the monthly basis, especially if you want to take a look at it in terms of like a Heikin-Ashi, right? You see in terms of like a Heikin-Ashi, these candles, right, on the monthly basis, they're not giving out any tails. Okay, all these candles, giving us, they're giving out like some solid, solid bottoms. Okay, meaning like you're not getting any wicks to the downside. All the wicks are up to the upside. So that's super bullish. Okay, just like what happened right here. If you recall, back in 2020, as soon as we started to break out, we stayed bullish. And you take a look at the monthly. If you go back and back test it, you can see like the monthly time frame was printing some solid monthly bullish Heikin-Ashi candles, super bullish. Okay, so all the wicks are to the upside, no wicks to the downside. I mean, that's super bullish. Okay, so in terms of like a Heikin-Ashi and all that good stuff, right? So we just want to close, right? Let's say on a monthly basis above 45.5, 46.5, up to 52K, right? A 52K close, that'll be extremely bullish, meaning like bears will get decimated, right? So I don't know who's going to be left, okay, looking for 10K, 5K, 3K, 1K, and all that good stuff once we hit 50K area, right? So now on a monthly basis, another indicator, one indicator basically to keep an eye on, right? But nothing to do with it. You can't do anything with the with your monthly MACD, because it is going to be moving pretty slow. So as I said back in 2022, I said clearly the monthly MACD, you don't want to pay attention to it, right? Because by the time it flip positive, price action could be 100% above the bottom. That's why I was saying just accumulate right here and don't worry about the monthly MACD, because the monthly MACD could give you a false signal, right? Why a false signal? Because it was bearish right here and you were waiting for the monthly MACD to flip positive, and we were bullish right here. I was saying back in November, actually back in August, right? September, August, right here in October 2022 in my premium, I was saying like, hey, when we take a look at the monthly RSI, we already bottomed. 85% probability we already bottomed. if we want to wait the RSI to get above the area 50 right here, right, to start being bullish, price action could be way higher, right, above the bottom. That's why back in Q4 2022, I was saying, hey guys, let's stay bullish on the macro, right? If we're going to be in the market for the next 2-3 years, right, our probability of making more gains is much higher, right, than trying to basically be bearish right now, and you're going to miss the whole, bull market. Okay, so hopefully it is clear. Hopefully it is clear, clean, and ready to go. Okay, so on a monthly basis, everything looks good. And in terms of halving, okay, the halving going to be in April 2024. And just to give you guys another overview of the price action in terms of like a monthly 21 EMA, by the time of the halving, price tends to be above the monthly 21 EMA by each, by the halving time. Okay, if we go back and back test it, you can see like back in 2020, price action was around like a 9K, right? During the halving time, it was above the monthly 21 EMA, right? You take a look at it right here in July 2016, around $600 above the monthly 21 EMA. You take a look at it in 2020, I mean in 2012, right? Leroy, okay? Price action was above the monthly 21 EMA. So that's why, if you've been listening to our channel over the last few months, right, in Q2, Q3, and all that good stuff, I was saying clearly, okay, regardless of our wave 2, what type of price action we're going to get in terms of wave 2, this wave, the likelihood of going back above the monthly 200 EMA before April 2024 is very high. Okay, so it is better, right, or it was better to stay macro bullish, right, stay with the trend, right, than to be macro bearish and be looking for lower lows before the halving. Okay, because once we take out 52K, I can't just see any other argument for the bears, right? The only other argument I can see is like they're going to be saying like, hey, this is going to be a distribution pattern. Okay, they could be calling for a distribution pattern, which is going to be crazy to me. Right? So they're going to be calling for a distribution pattern, something like that, okay? From 70K, let's say 70K, down to 15K, back up to 70K, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to dump. Now they're going to be calling for this expanded flat, whatever they want to call it. Okay, they're going to call this move a flat correction, and they're going to be like, okay, we're going to retest the top right here, and then we're going to get a gigantic dump, like a 95% all the way down to 3K. Let's do the math for Leroy. Yes, 95% all the way down to 3K. So just be cautious. Just like just like the way we described it before. Okay, when BTC was down to when BTC was around 15K, what I said was like once we hit 0.618, right, bear is going to be like, okay, we're going to get a zigzag formation where price action going to dump from here down to this point. They're going to be calling for this zigzag. Now the likelihood of this pattern to be playing out is very low. So very soon bears will flip the idea, right, to a bigger pattern and say something like that, right? So just be cautious if you're trading BTC based on Elliott wave, right? I wouldn't basically be looking for a search move, even though it is a plausible in terms of Elliott wave. Yes, it is plausible, but in terms of like the 4-year cycle, I wouldn't mess with that. I wouldn't mess with that. Okay, or they could even print something like a potential triangular formation, but I don't think bears will. I don't think they're going to be dumb enough to do that, right? Or they could do something like that. Okay, very soon they're going to change the pattern, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, we got a triangular formation. But you have to be zooming out really okay, on a quarterly basis to be able to see the these type of patterns. Okay, you could be saying like, okay, that is going to be a triangular formation, and then they're going to be like, oh, we're going to be dumping down to 20K and all that good stuff. Still looking good, but the 4-year cycle and the halving will not allow us to be highly confident like we're going to be printing one of these patterns. Okay, the likelihood of breaking all-time high, in my own opinion and my technical analysis, is very high compared to like printing any of these bearish patterns. Hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so now let's move on. It is already 20 minutes, right? So let's move on to the weekly basis, right? So the weekly basis looks super bullish. Okay, so let's start off with the bullishness before we talk about like supports and all that good stuff. Okay, so with the weekly time frame, okay, the main indicator as of now, right, to keep an eye on, it is going to be the weekly 21, because in terms of like RSI, you can't say anything regarding the RSI. It is overextended, just about like a 78, but it's not that high. If you go back to the all-time high right here, the RSI was around like a 94, so we're nowhere near like the 90s, right? If you go back to 2019, right, you could say like, oops, we kind of overextended. You could say that, right? I'm not saying like BTC will be breaking out forever, or BTC will be breaking out over the next like 19 months without pulling back down. Okay, it will be cooling off. Okay, but I'm not expecting like 50%, 70%, 80%, breakdown and all that good stuff. Okay, so on a weekly basis, right, the next level of resistance is going to be the 0.786 based on log scale, which is right now around like a 50K. So, and at the same time, as I described in my premium group, I just updated the weekly update, right? You can see like back in 2022, late 2022, we were shorting right here around like a 52. I remember exactly, we did have a double top around 52, and so many bulls were looking for some new price, some higher prices and all that good stuff. We were just basically shorting at 52, and we were looking for what, 37, 34K down to the monthly 21 EMA. So that level of resistance, okay, will be an area of confluence over the next like a few days. Okay, if you basically want to take a look at it at the same time in terms of like a Fibonacci, our 0.786 fibs, it is at 50K area. Okay, so just have a slight resistance right here around 48. So if you want to include 48, 52, also great, but just keep an eye on this area just in case we get a temporary rejection, right? And do not break out all the way up to 0.888. 0.888, it is right around like a 58K, 57 to 58 for Leroy, okay? Depending on how you join your fibs. But I would say 57 is good enough, 57, 58, right? If you short to medium term trading, okay? But on the macro basis, I don't think 58 it is a macro target for me, okay? So something to basically keep in mind. So on the downside, right, whether we get an ETF approval, rejection or delay, the level of support to keep an eye on over the next like a few days, weeks, right, or even month, going to be primarily, right, our 3D 21 and our weekly 21. Okay, so the 3D 21 going to be the first support, and the secondary support going to be the weekly 21 EMA. So since we're discussing the weekly 21, so let's take a look at the weekly 21 first. Okay, the weekly 21, it is at 36.7, 36.9 Leroy, 36.977 Leroy. Okay, however, since most of you guys know, okay, it is a moving average, you just don't know how long it'll take, right, for price to retest it. So it can be, it can be, let's say next week, the week after, or even like sometime in April, I don't know, right? But if we retest it, you just have to remember, hey, it is a great buying opportunity as we just retested the weekly 21. Could it break it like 5-10% below it? Absolutely, because of the volatility. All right, but the concept is like in the second stage of the bull market, or like let's say early stage to the second stage of the bull market, the weekly, if you retest the weekly 21 EMA, the probability is like more buyers will be coming into the market trying to basically FOMO into the market and basically, push the price higher and getting all the bears to be covering their shorts. Okay, so we will see how it will play out depending on the ETF approval. I really don't care whether the ETF is approved, reject, or delayed, right? But we just have to basically keep an eye on our weekly 21 over the next like a few weeks or even month. Okay, so in terms of MACD, right, the weekly 21, nothing crazy, right? A big separation right here, high volatility right here. So still looking pretty good. So I don't see anything bearish in term of like a MACD. Okay, I don't see anything bearish in term of like a RSI, because you just don't know. Once again, bull markets, right, love bearish divergences. Okay, because you could be doing something like that for the rest of the bull market, or even do something like that. So you just don't know how long you're going to be staying above the 67, 70 area on the RSI. Right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D time frame. So the 3D big breakout. Let's take a look at right here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so when we take a look at the 3D time frame, one bearish argument bulls, okay, could be keeping an eye on, right, is like the negative crossover on our MACD. That's the only thing I can see in terms of like bearishness. Right, that's the only thing I can see, even though we got a breakout right here. However, just because we got a negative momentum right here doesn't necessarily mean, right, it will capitulate or it will basically dump hard. Okay, why? Because we got the 3D 21 right there, ready to basically support any price action dump. Okay, as of now, it is around like a 40K. So the higher it goes, the better it is. It might not even retest it. Okay, that's why I'm saying the best thing to do, right, is to stay bullish. If it drops, great buying opportunity. If it goes up, great selling opportunities at resistance, right? So you take a look at the same price level, the same price action we had back in 2020. Most of you guys don't remember, but I remember vividly, okay, because we traded it in our premium right here. Okay, what we said was like, we got this flat correction, we're going to be pushing to the upside. Take a look at the MACD back then on the 3D. It did not cross negative on the 3D. However, if you take a look at it on the 2D, we did have a negative crossover. We did have a negative crossover after the flat correction. All right, so that's the same type of a price action, right? We're getting right now on a 3D basis. Will it play out the same way? I don't know. But the only thing I know is like the trend as of now, right? January 8th, 2024, 9:45 p.m. It is still bullish. Could we get a pullback within the next few weeks? Yes. Okay. So I think that is it, right? On the 2D, still negative, right? So we'll need to flip positive and all that good stuff. Okay. On a daily basis, one thing we just have to keep an eye on, on the daily is like we don't want to get a negative crossover on our MACD. Okay. We don't want to get a negative crossover on our MACD since we just got the positive crossover and already made a new high. If we go back negative right here, bear is going to be like, okay, that is a divergence. But as of now, you cannot be highly confident this is going to be a divergence. Why? Because price action could go much, much higher and your MACD could go much, much higher. Right? However, if we get the negative crossover, price action dropping back lower below the daily 21, yes, now you could draw, okay, your bearish divergence right there. Okay, hopefully it makes sense, right? So now another thing basically to keep an eye on is like this breakout, right? In terms of like the BTC dominance, let's take a look at the BTC dominance relative to the breakout we just getting right now. Okay, so if you take a look at the 2D time frame on the BTC dominance, right? You know, if you've been following our channel long enough, okay, over the last few weeks, we've been saying like, hey, keep an eye on your BTC dominance, regardless of what the market is saying, because sometimes the market might look, you know, the markets might look bearish, right? However, your BTC dominance might be signaling you like, hey, a bullish momentum, okay? And if you don't pay attention to the BTC dominance, you might be completely bearish and get caught out like with the reversal, okay? So you can see like another bullish crossover on our 2D MACD right here could be signaling, okay, another move all the way up to 57% Leroy, not K. Right, so you can see like this one right here, we had a nice breakout right here. We just didn't continue the uptrend. The reason for that was like the flat correction. That's the only reason we did not continue the uptrend. So we got the double crossover, bullish right here, another bullish right here. So it could be a fresh new breakout to the upside, up to basically 57%, around the 0.618, give or take. Okay, and last time we break out like 13%. If we go back to the BTC price action from this point, let's say back in August, when it bottomed out right there, BTC already pumped, let's say it pumped like, let's say 75%, but as of now it is like, let's say 85, right? But it pumped 75%, and the dominance only pumped 13%. Okay, I know it is hard to say, okay, it is going to do the same thing, another 13% right here, going to take us around like a, 57%, of course, from like a 51% dominance, right? Could we get another 75% breakout? Could we get another 75% breakout? Possibly, okay? And that would take us to all-time high if we get the one-to-one extension of the BTC dominance. 13%, 75% breakout. Another 13% breakout on the BTC dominance could basically give us another 75% move. Okay, even okay, if we don't get the one-to-one extension, let's say we get 50% of 75, right? Let's say we get 50% of it. It could still be a 35% breakout, right? 35, 37% breakout, give or take, right? Will take us somewhere around like a 57 to a 58K, which is somewhere around the 0.888. If the bullish momentum continues and the daily MACD remaining positive. If we get the rejection, right, the BTC dominance could still go higher. However, right, the BTC price action could cool off, okay, cool back down to the 3D 21, right, weekly 21, who knows. But the overall trend, regardless of what we get in the next like a few weeks, the overall trend on a macro basis since like November 2022 has been up. Any bears, okay, any bears, who's out there calling for like 5K, 2K, 3K and all that good stuff, right, most likely going to miss the rest of the bull market. You got to remember, most bears will be coming out whenever we drop 5%, 10%, they're going to be like, oh, okay, we told you guys, it's going to dump. But most bears, we've been saying like we're going to dump since like 15K. They've been saying like we're going to dump since 15K. Right, so once we get a 5, 7, 8, 10% cool off, they're going to be like, okay, I told you so. Take a look at this divergence. Take a look at this, volume. Take a look at this indicator and blah, blah, blah. But the overall trend, if you oversimplify it on a quarterly basis, right, the overall trend is up, right? The overall trend, if you oversimplify it, right, if I were to oversimplify my whole analysis, okay, the yearly analysis, I would say like the trend is super bullish. And speaking of the yearly analysis, if we go back on a yearly time frame, if you guys recall, back in January 2023, what we said, what is the probability of BTC, right, closing 2023 bearish? I said it was very low, probably 0. Why? Because we never had a back-to-back bearish yearly cycle on BTC. So you just have to trust what you have until it doesn't work, okay? But we never had a back-to-back bearish yearly cycle. Take a look at it right here. 2014 bearish, 2015 reversal candle, 2018 bearish, 2019 reversal candle, 2022 bearish, 2023 super bullish candle, reversal. So what is the likelihood of BTC closing 2024 bearish? It is absolutely 0 based on probability. It's 0. It doesn't mean it's not possible, but the probability is 0 because we never seen it. Once we get a bearish candle after a macro reversal candle, then we could start to say, okay, now we got to pay attention to it. Right? And we talked about it in early 2023, and now it is, we're talking about it again in early 2024. Okay, so we are in the second stage of the bull market. Okay, second stage of the bull market. Okay, so the third stage will be after the halving, and it could just blast off, okay, all the way up to some crazy prices, whatever you want to call it, 1 million, 2 million, whatever. But the likelihood of the trend staying bullish over the next like a few months is high, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. That's just my personal technical analysis, right? If you want to say it, if you want to call it opinion, you can also call it opinion, right? So let me go ahead and take a look at the chat room. I got 589 from Quiet Cook. Jenko in the house, thanks a lot for tuning in. So I think it's, that's all I wanted to cover regarding BTC and the BTC dominance. The only other thing, we could pay attention to, it is the USDT dominance, right? And on the macro basis, it looks really, really good. Okay, it looks really, really good, even though it is a support. It is a support based on the macro trend, line support. As you can see right here, that was our 2018 bottom, okay, at the same time in terms of BTC, right? So this was our 2019 top, right? That was right around like 1%, and we got another top somewhere around like 2% back in May 2021, and now we got another support right here. We also had another basically support right there back in November 2021. So whenever we retest this trend line, we tend to get a macro reversal after a bull trend on the BTC price action. So that's the only thing I could say, okay, bulls could be right about. Okay, saying like, okay, the top could be in, right? Based on the USDT dominance. That's the only thing I can see. That's the only thing I can see. Right. However, if the BTC price action breaks out above 50K and the USDT dominance breaks out below the macro trendline support right here, right, we could be getting a new price, a new momentum, okay, below the trendline support right here, and could be retesting some lower prices all the way down to like a 4% potentially. But as of now, right, the best level of support, right, to keep an eye on, going to be right here based on closing basis, right around like a 4.6, 4.8%. If it breaks out below 5% area, 5.3 to be exact. Because you got to remember, we talked about what? We talked about the 5.8 right here, right? Remember, we talked about it a long time ago, back in 2023, January 2023. When we started the breakout right here around like a 8%, our yearly outlook If you go back and check it, okay, we discussed it right here. I remember exactly, it was like January 9th or January 8th, right? Just like today, okay, January 8th. Because I like to wait for the first weekly candle of the year to close before, you know, I do a yearly outlook and all that good stuff, right? So you can see like right here, as soon as we started to break out, what I said was like, you know, we could potentially be going down to 5.8, but it took like a year to drop down to these lows. Yes, it could take another 3 to 6 months before we drop down to these areas, right? That's also possible, right? So all right, so thanks a lot for tuning in, Tails, floating trip, thanks a lot for tuning in and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it short, guys. It is almost like 40 minutes, right? So that was the yearly outlook for BTC. You know, something to something to keep in mind. I just wanted to give you guys a very important update for the next like let's say 3 to 12 months, or even like up to 2025, right? If you are trading BTC on a macro basis, not if you're trading it on a 15-second charts, because everything I just described might not be useful to you if you're only trading the 15-second charts. Okay, so make sure to hit the likes, make sure also to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. It doesn't cost you anything, right? And all that good stuff. Join the public Telegram group, link in the description. You can join the Discord public Telegram Discord public group, right? Just like the public Telegram group, they both in the description. If you want to join the premium group, I got a 30% to a 50% discount, link in the description and all that good stuff, right? So stay safe out there, and be ready for the post-halving volatility, or the post ETF news and all that good stuff, depending on your time frame. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching.